On May 31st, 2025, I spoke at my first public speaking events in Montreal, Canada, in front of over 450 people. In that room, we've collected over $70,000, and I want to walk you through what the experience was like following me throughout the day. You'll get to see some of the behind the scenes of the event, what happened throughout the day, and more. So come along and follow me throughout this day. The event began on Friday night with a private dinner with Daniel G. Now, you might not be familiar with Daniel G, but he is one of the most predominant figure in the sales industry. He's closed millions of dollars in sales deals and now does sales coaching and events around the world. He's about 5 million followers, give or take, on Instagram. And if you Google him, he's estimated to be worth at about $60 million. So I had a private dinner with him on Friday night. I'm going to put a few photos on screen for you to see of the event itself. It was great because I not only had some current clients who were also attending the dinner that I hadn't yet met in person in real life before, so that was great. Also had a lot of friends that I already knew from the space in there, and people that you kind of know in the space but have never met in person. A few info product owners and agency owners from the space that we've been following each other from afar were present. So great dinner overall. Was also an amazing view. One of the best spots in my opinion in Montreal, which is the Hiatus restaurant, has a great view overlooking the city. And so from there, my fiance and I were some of the last people to leave the dinner. We were hanging out with Alex and Alex, two of our clients, essentially, which are business partners in the crypto trading space in Quebec, Canada. And these guys are honestly printing multiple 8 figures a year. We've now had the chance to be working with them for about 2 months as their paid ads agency. And so we came back quite late at night, and you'll get to hear me right after the dinner. Good evening, everyone. It is now 12 a.m. on Saturday, May 31st. I just came back from a private dinner pre-event with Daniel G and some of the other speakers that are going to come and speak at the event tomorrow in Montreal, Canada. The event is actually called Closers, and I'm going to be one of the speakers. This is going to be one of my first public speaking appearance in front of about 450 people in attendance, and so super excited for that. I'm trying to keep it quiet. Fiance is sleeping not too far out from my office, but just about to get to bed, waking up hopefully with a little bit of sleep. Again, I'm gonna have to wake up in about 6 or so hours, so it's gonna be a somewhat short night of sleep, but it's okay for a good reason. So looking forward to kickstart the day tomorrow. Our vlog, we're almost ready to leave, and then I gotta show you my fiance. Look at her. Look at this. This is the first time wearing the PA pin. It's cool, to be honest. I feel like we're mixing our own worlds now. I feel more and more she's getting integrated into my world of business, and honestly, I love it. And now we're matching with those pins. So at this point, my fiance and I went and picked up Nick, which is actually my sales rep, which has been now working with us for quite some time. Funnily enough, he started as an ad agent student running his own agency quite some time ago, and now he's been working with us for almost a year at this point. So picked him up, then we drove to the event and went to see what the actual room would look like before it started being filled out with a lot of people. All right, so we just got to the room here of the event. Gonna be speaking on stage right here in just a little bit. Take a look at this. Your boy's on a panel like this. Right here, official sponsor of the event. For those of you who don't know, this is the French name of the business, actually, by paidadvertising.com, so just our French division. So I'll be speaking out here in just a little bit in front of about 450 people that are about to come in this room, so it should be good. So the day started off with a few talks that weren't mine, actually great talks overall. Sonia, Tanya, and Alex, which is one of my clients, as mentioned earlier in the video. So great talks overall. You can see a few pictures of me just listening up, essentially, and just trying to take as much knowledge as possible from the people, talking before me. That being said, here's a few pictures right here on screen of Alex. That is, again, one of my clients talking up on this stage. But that got done. It was now lunch break, which was right before my talk in the afternoon. So again, a few pictures of me speaking during lunch break with others. You'll see me also with my fiance and with Will, which was another speaker for the day itself. I had the pleasure of meeting a lot of people. I'd say probably 2 dozens of people that were attending the event, knew me from online and wanted to, have a quick chat. So shout out to everyone that I had the chance to speak to. I honestly didn't eat whatsoever during lunch break because I was waiting for my talk and I didn't want to have like any sort of weird, burps or stomach noises or whatever. So I was like, look, I'm just going to drink some water and I'll eat later in the day after the talk. So afternoon kicked off with Frank Mackay, which you can see on that picture right besides me right here. He's one of the largest independent real estate agency owner in Quebec. So he has over 100 real estate agents under him in his banner. So we had a good one-on-one conversation following my talk, which we'll get to see in a second. But overall, very interesting talk to begin the afternoon with. And then after that, had a few panels. And then now this was time for me to get ready to go on stage. So after Frank's talk, it was now 2 panels back to back of people just chatting on stage. So I was now having to head all the way back to the room, just get mic'd up essentially and wait for my turn to get on stage. You'll see me right here with a few clips, just being in the back of the room, seeing like what was going to be the atmosphere as soon as I would get on stage. And again, getting just mic'd up with everything on my side. And then the big moment came. So I'll start playing a couple of clips of me right on the side of the stage about to get on it. I was hanging out with Gwen, which was one of my great friends, which was happened to be filming the event. So I'll roll those clips and then show you a few bits and bobs of me during the event. Again, this was a French speaking event. So we'll try and put some subtitles on screen of what I was saying on stage at the time. So let's play it.
Alors, on change un peu de vitesse, on s'en va du théorique au numérique. On passe maintenant à un expert en numérique. Il a travaillé avec les plus grands entrepreneurs américains, Ty Lopez ou encore Alex Hormozy, pour nommer quelques-uns. Son travail est dans l'ombre, mais son impact, lui, est très bien réel. Il gère des campagnes publicitaires à très gros volume et surtout à gros rendement. Veuillez accueillir chaleureusement Justin Lalonde!
Donc, dans l'industrie en ce moment, on vit un chiffre assez monumental. Le AI, on en a parlé tantôt, est en train de tasser beaucoup de gens aside. Puis c'est les gens qui sont bons. Je parle pas des incompétents, je parle vraiment de ceux qui sont bons. Puis honnêtement, il y a 2 types de réactions que je vois toujours autour de moi. La première, c'est les gens qui disent « Ah, c'est pas pour moi, c'est trop compliqué, je comprends pas, je suis pas techno. » C'est soit des parents ou des gens qui réalisent pas qu'ils sont en train de se faire dépasser. Puis t'as l'autre gang qui se disent « Ouais, moi j'utilise ça le AI, c'est juste ChatGPT, puis c'est des prompts, c'est copier-coller. Ça sonne smart, fait que ça passe. » Bon, ben, plus facile. Mais ce système-là, tu l'auras pas avec ChatGPT. Tu l'auras pas plus en regardant 3-4 vidéos sur YouTube ou en suivant un gars sur TikTok. J'ai voyagé. J'ai rencontré des gens, j'ai vu mon équipe à travers le monde, j'ai vécu des expériences de fou, puis...
And so that was that. First on stage speaking experience. It felt electric. It's so funny because on my Whoop stats, and I actually have a photo to show you exactly of that, you could see that I had like essentially a very high peak of just daily stress leading all the way up to the moment I was going to get on stage. And as soon as I went on stage, it just boom, it plummeted. Like I was in the zone. I was dialed in when it was time to speak in front of the room, which was honestly just a great feeling. If you've been anything like me and love your deep work moments, you just love when you get into the flow. And that was me when I got on stage. I honestly prepared this talk weeks in advance, which allowed me to just rehearse over and over again, which again ended up being a good thing because the talk overall went well. Shout out to my friend Gwen again for recommending for me to take a story before going off stage. You're going to see that right here. So everyone in the background just saying like, yeah, you know, as soon as I ended up my talk. So the crowd was electric. People were honestly great. And it was a perfect moment to have my talk at. Why? Right after the talk, there was the afternoon break. And so what ended up happening is I'm going to roll a bunch of those clips for you right here. I ended up being able to speak to a lot of people that would come up to me. In fact, I do not exaggerate when I say I've probably spoken to close to 50 to 60 people after my talk. A lot of people were coming up and asking questions. One of those right here you'll see on screen is Gaetan, which actually is working very closely with Yomi Denzel, one of the top guys in the French space when it comes to e-commerce and drop shipping. He was attending the event. He's actually Yomi's marketer. And so had a great chat with him, amongst many others who were either interested in hearing more about how like my advertising talk could apply to their own business. And from there, and the conversations that both me, my sales rep Nick, and my fiance had with the attendees, we ended up walking away with about 12 to 15 people who ended up starting to work with us from that day onwards with our Ad Engine 101 inner circle. But that was not all. The day was going to be ending with the man himself, Daniel G, actually giving a talk to wrap everything up, which was honestly a great talk. It was a long talk, about an hour or so, so one of the longest of the day itself, but definitely worth it. Some good nuggets when it comes to sales process and whatnot. And honestly, at the end of the day, we're now talking, it's like 9-10 p.m. I was done for. I spoke to so many people during the day. And shout out to my fiance for having been there during the day and playing the assistant role of both myself and Nick, my sales rep. She like fed us, with snacks and water bottles as we were just chatting with a bunch of people during the day. So again, thank God she was there and present. But nonetheless, we're still very hungry and tired from the day. And so we ended up meeting with a few friends at McDonald's just downtown Montreal. It was like almost midnight at this point, just to try and get a bite before then heading to sleep. And from there, I ended up recording a few final thoughts about the event and how I felt in the moment with the experience just the next morning. And so I'll leave you with those parting thoughts right now to watch. It is now Sunday morning, the day after the event. I still got my pass right here, and I'm just now unloading all of my stuff. Honestly, it was crazier than I expected. I also left with a little souvenir, as you can see right down here. Got my speaker card right here. They took like a very old picture of mine, to be honest. Like this picture is, I think, 4 years old or something, but it is what it is. Nonetheless, it's a nice souvenir. Words can hardly describe how exciting and electric the atmosphere was yesterday in the room of the event. I was reflecting last night when I came back. I came home at about like 12:30 a.m. And I stayed up until almost 2 a.m. just to break down kind of what happened during that day. We welcomed over 7 Ad Engine clients the day of, left with several client referrals for the agency. 3 or 4 days in a row packed out with calls of people being interested in working with us. And again, like the room just wanted the speakers to win. And this is one of the first time I've seen that. Like I've attended now several conferences, although this was the first one I spoke at. And it just like the crowd was electric. They were participating. They were engaged. Nobody was like on their phone or like talking too much during the talks. Like everyone was just not only so respectful, but also brought in like the highest form of energy possible in that room. So it was great because I've met some current clients, not only from Ad Engine, but also from our ad agency. Met up again with a bunch of friends that were either participating during the event, speaking during the event, and whatnot. And just all in all was, I can say like hands down, one of the best days in my career so far. Like not gonna lie, nothing really compares the atmosphere, or at least the and this morning I'd like to say I almost feel like crying. And it's I guess weird for me to say here on YouTube, but it just was like magical. I have literally I'm like out of words to describe how insane yesterday simply was. Like the turnout of the people, the type of people that were there, and just the overall energy. When I gave the talk, the people were applauding, were cheering and whatnot, and that was great. But after the talk, I think I probably stayed out and spoke for like 2 hours with attendees. There's probably 50 or 60 of you that I got to speak to in person, and this just was so like overwhelmingly positive, I guess is the only word that comes to mind for that. Like I'm eternally grateful, honestly, for this opportunity. Like I just genuinely love helping people, like absolutely genuinely want the best in people. And no matter what like type of advice I can give someone, no matter what size of business someone is at, I'm always happy to, just at least help them out and give them maybe a little nugget of what I had to go through over the last few years in building my business. Like not a lot of people know here on YouTube nowadays, because several people to the channel are new every single month. But I started making videos like 10 years ago. Like you can scroll back on the channel. I have videos dating from 2015 and 2016. And I was when I started making graphic design videos as a freelancer. I was 14, 15 back then, which this was like the start of the journey. And now to be able to share that on stage with, in front of a home crowd, if you want, and the French, Canadian, Quebec market is like so new to all this online space and digital marketing and like sales and it's just this world that I feel the US has now, I wouldn't say taken for granted, but become a lot more accustomed to. It's just entirely new for the Quebec market, and to be able to share that and like bring this back home felt great. So I really am putting this out there in the universe where I God willing, I'd love to have more opportunities to speak over the next few months, to attend events, and to perhaps, who knows, host my own event someday out here. I think there's tremendous value nowadays, more than ever, with the rise of AI, to have community, and with the remote space that we've been in now for a few years, to also have like offline events, just like I had now this weekend, like to meet people, to shake hands. I've probably shaken hundreds of hands this past weekend, and there's just something else about like physical human connections that no pieces or no amount of online content can replicate the trust built in the offline or like face-to-face space. And so I'm leaving this weekend grateful. I'm leaving this weekend with a first speaking gig in front of 450 people done. I now have a game tape to review, which I'll definitely sit down and review my talk and like analyze myself and, take a few notes for what I can improve in the next one. But man, it was a great first speaking experience. So on that note, I hope you've enjoyed this slightly more raw, off the cuff, and not as planned video. I'll leave you guys on that. Have an amazing day. If you want to learn from the way I personally run paid ads, implement systems in my clients' businesses, have scalable ad engines, good funnels, AI-powered ad creatives, check out the link in the description down below to join our ad engine one-on-one inner circle. And on that note, I'm going to be seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.